Well, there may be lots of Americans wanting to visit Cuba, but many may find that their planes aren't going anywhere fast. Nita Soledad Perez explains.
Stuck passengers and planes at Miami area airports. That's a direct result of increasing instances of holdups in wire transfers to Cuban government accounts. Air charter companies say they are suffering the consequences.
Cuba canceled 2 of our flights. When that happens, clients get nervous of booking with you again. They decide to use other charter companies.
The Cuban government used to be more patient. Now, if it doesn't get its landing and passenger fees ahead of time, landing rights are canceled.
The Cuban government is probably looking for leverage to try to get the U.S. government to do more to roll back the embargo.
And charter companies say banks aren't helping, taking too much time and getting overly involved in deciding which Americans are authorized to travel to Cuba. Who's holding the money?
The U.S. banks are holding the money. They're holding the wire transfers. The banks are doing their own due diligence to make sure that each passenger or each flight is authorized by Cuba or by the U.S.
JPMorgan Chase is a correspondent bank for Blanco, responsible for routing the company's money to Cuba through a third country. It refused comment for the story. Chase, perhaps, is a little skittish. 4 years ago, it paid $88 million to the U.S. government to settle sanctions violations, some involving wire transfers to Cuba. Meanwhile, in response to our inquiry, the U.S. Treasury Department said, quote, "We continue to work with financial institutions and industry to clarify our regulations so that they can appropriately comply with our regulations." Earlier this year, a Florida-based bank, Stonegate Bank, became the first U.S. entity to establish a correspondent banking relationship directly with Cuba under the two governments' new relationship. Now the hope is that other banks will follow suit, making a wire transfer to the island an easier task. Nita Soledad Perez, CCTV, Miami.